mashup.
Oh, yeah. That's a mashup. This chick meets Rob Zombie.
Right, it's a porno mashup.
We were talking about those mashups, you know, where guys take two records and meld them together like Lynyrd Skynyrd and Nelly. Have you heard that one? We're thinking they should mash up movies like Godfather meets Spider-Man. Could really do it.
Or MASH. MASH meets something.
MASH meets MASH, the TV show.
MASH. A mashup.
Yeah, MASH the movie meets MASH the TV show.
I like that.
Yeah,
Elliot Gould beats up Alan Alda.
Right. Yeah, baby. I don't know how I feel about these mashups.
I gotta tell you, as a classic rock fan, it's odd to have this opinion, but I kind of like this. I dig it.
Really kind of irritates me.
It's like they're playing songs over each other.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, well, which song am I listening to here?
Well, I'm not listening to Nelly.
I'm blocking out one or the other. I'm spending too much time blocking out
Which
one.
do you pay attention to?
And that Nelly dude just sounds like he's talking over Freebird or whatever this is. Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah. You just want to hear a guy go, Sweet Home Alabama.
Well, you want somebody to get the station on the right channel.
Yeah, there it is. That might be the best explanation. The Nelly part is noise.
Right, it's that interference you sometimes get when you're changing stage.
You kind of want to just go, shh. Nelly, shh. Oh, my God. I don't know. It seems like a lot of work. But the mashups...
you just got to get into it.
9 Inch Nails, they got one with, what the hell is it? 9 Inch Nails and... I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Hey now.
Yeah,
9 Inch Nails...
In the club.
In the club,
Oh,
that's
that
it.
would be 50 Cent.
50 Cent.
In the club.
In the club, 9 Inch Nails.
That's what, last time I was out at the Hard Rock doing stand-up, that Nicole Richie's boyfriend guy. He's
Adam, whatever his name is.
DJ Adam.
Right. He plays at their place out there, and that's what he does, all stuff like that.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
That's why he gets to have sex with Nicole Richie, because he can mash
He
records.
mash things up.
You're really turning me on, DJ Adam, with your mashup. I have to do you.
DJ Adam spinning it at Body English at the Hard Rock.
DJ Adam, man. You know DJ Adam used to be obese and got his stomach stapled. Now he's a skinny kid.
I did know that, yeah.
I didn't know that. He was, they don't look so made over. They look really ruined when you see him in the hospital.
So, good morning, everybody. What's happening?
Hey, now.
Next week, the Blind Beauty Pageant. Don't miss that. That's where blind chicks are going to compete for prizes.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, I don't see what they get the prize, I guess.
Well, for guys like us, we want to find good-looking blind chicks who don't know we're ugly.
I
Right.
see.
We can tell them how hot we are.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I'll find the hottest blind chick we could find. Don't miss the Blind Beauty Pageant next week, sponsored by Lionsgate. Alone in the Dark. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it can't kill you. Available on DVD everywhere.
Wow.
How about that? This is Henry Hudson Highway here in New York.
Yeah.
And isn't that what it's called, Henry Hudson?
Yeah.
I've been on that thing a million times. And the people who live around this particular area of the Henry Hudson Highway were like looking out their windows of their apartment buildings and saying, hey, it looks like the ground is bulging out onto the highway.
Yeah, they said there was a big fault in the wall.
Wisely, they called the authorities. The authorities send over inspectors. The inspectors say, yeah, something's up here, but don't worry about it. Shows you inspectors don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Jeez.
Well, you know, they were supposed to start working on it on Monday.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing just kind of collapsed. And
Yeah, it just came down.
luckily, no one was killed. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
That's a miracle.
You look at the cover of the paper, it looks like something that happened in California or something.
Right, it looked like an earthquake or something.
So we had a mudslide. And now I take that a lot when I go out to Long Island, but it happened a little past where I get off.
Right.
But that's going to screw up traffic like in a major way.
Yeah, I was listening to the traffic reports yesterday afternoon. It sounded like everybody had a nightmare.
Yeah.
Sitting there for hours trying to figure out how to get home.
Well, it's so congested at this point. Just one little vein gets aggravated in the
sometimes
you're
it's
done.
sometimes it's so hard to live in New York. You know what I mean? Just
It
like
is.
to get around and to get things done. And
Well, I would say it's hard to get in and get out. If you just
Yeah.
stay here, you're pretty much okay.
yeah, that's what I did. I flew the coop, of course, and then just stayed in Manhattan. I barely leave.
Yeah, your problem is sometimes you try to leave.
Yeah, that's my stupidity.
Well, yeah, you put up with the other inconveniences for the fun of Manhattan, you know, and then all the work that's here.
My anniversary, 5-year anniversary with my girlfriend last night. She cooked dinner.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
What'd you make? A little
What did you do?
engagement chicken?
I bought her a little bauble
Oh.
that I went shopping for that she really liked.
A bauble?
Yeah. Necklace.
Okay, I don't know. I was going to pretend to know what that was.
I was thinking about it. I was like, we were not going to make a big deal about it, but it's a miracle. 5 years together with someone, to me, especially, I am so difficult. I mean, honest to God, I am. The woman, she really appears to love me. Yeah. And I say, that's really something. So I was, I went over to Barney's and bought something for her. Mm-hmm. And I started looking, and I just said, she deserves something really nice. So I got her this nice necklace that I think you would like. You'll see it.
Okay.
I told her to wear it Saturday night.
You wear this Saturday.
Wear this so Robin can see I'm a good boyfriend.
Well,
Wear this so Robin can...
You let my 4-year anniversary go right by. May 7th was 4th year.
4th year with Dana?
No, on the show.
Oh.
Oh, darn. We didn't get you a bauble.
That's something I remember in my head. It's an important date to me.
4 years on the show already?
May 7th.
Jeez.
That's amazing.
4-year anniversary since I sat in.
Yeah. You're doing a good job.
Doesn't seem that long, Artie.
Hey, you're really doing a good job, man. You come in right at the right time with those funny lines, man. Works just perfect for me.
I'd rather have a bauble, but... But,
How many years you been with the show, Fred, and what is your anniversary? We don't even know your anniversary.
I think it was sometime in October of like 81 or 82.
No, 81 it couldn't have been.
Then 82.
well, by the time I got here, it actually...
Why couldn't it have
Oh,
been
no,
81?
it could have been 81.
Yeah.
No. I always think... I always
New
count
York
from
is-
Hartford, but you didn't work with me in Hartford. We did stuff
We did
together.
stuff, but yeah, that would have been more like 79.
Right. Washington, D.C. would be
81.
81, right. So that's 500 years you've been with the show.
500 light years.
I thought he would have quit in sometime in the 90s, but no, he
Hung in there.
hung in there.
What made me rethink of it was your daughter graduated. I remember when I started here, she had just started college. I remember you talking about,
Yeah.
how that was kind of, obviously a big deal for you.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's an even bigger deal.
Now she's out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I was
thinking to
talking
myself, I could have went to college.
And all this time you could have gone to college. You could have gotten a degree.
Yeah.
I was talking to one guy who was telling me when his kid got out of college, like he just, like the kid said, "Hey, Dad, now, it's tough finding a job. Can you help me set up an apartment? This and that and the other thing." And he said, "No, that's it. You're done. 4 years of college.
Really?
You want to move
You
back
got an
home.
education.
You want to move back home for a couple of months, but I'm not paying for your place and all this."
I got a house. You can live in it.
And this guy's, a fairly wealthy guy, but he was kind of doing, I guess, either being cheap or tough love, but I
Well,
couldn't.
it was both.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far with my kids. I
hard.
want my
That's
kids
hard
to
do.
Yeah, I want my kids to work, but
It's extreme.
at the same point, I know when you get out of college, you just don't get a job right away unless you got a law degree or a doctor degree
Or some other skill that
Yeah.
somebody needs.
Yeah. No Stern has ever had a skill that anyone needed. No Stern has ever.
They don't come out with skills. Those
No,
nerds.
no, they don't. We have skills no one needs.
Takes them a while to find their way.
It does. It does. It could take years. But no, I know I panicked when I got out of college. I was in such bad shape mentally.
What do you mean by that? Mentally bad shape.
I was just filled with insecurity. I went to college for 4 years. I had grown up my entire life saying I'm going to be on the radio. And I never once was on the radio except the campus radio station, which any idiot could be on. No teacher ever said, "Hey, let me hear a tape of yours," or critiqued it, or there was no supervision at
You
the
never
college.
had an internship at a real radio station?
Never had an internship,
Really?
nothing. I just, in my head, said, I'm going to be on the radio. And, imagine you get out, and all of a sudden, who's looking for me on the radio?
Nobody knows you.
Knows me. I'm not connected in any way. An internship would have been a smart thing.
Yeah.
The radio station would have said, hey, he's a good guy. Something. Some sort of connection to radio. I would have known something about radio.
Right, you might have understood what it was all about.
I had no clue. I had no effing clue. But maybe I would have developed some contacts. I see these interns here. They're smart. They network a little bit.
Sure.
Some of them end up working here. They end up on the E channel. They end up somewhere.
Right.
You know.
You can tell a kid who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or she.
Unbelievable.
So you just got out and fell apart.
I fell apart. I went home to my parents' house, and they go, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to go find a job. And they went, okay. And I had a suit.
Good idea.
You got a suit.
I got a suit. I put it on, and every day I'd take a briefcase filled with resumes, and I got completely freaked out. I visited a bunch of radio stations.
Yeah.
Now, at that time, did you still have your long hair? Did you cut your hair? Or?
Yes, the professor said you have to cut your hair.
I see.
So I cut my hair, and so I wanted to line up a job. The last 2 months of college, I said, I'm going to line up a radio job.
Right.
And I made an air check, which is when you cut up a radio show, and I did that, and I walked into this radio station, a progressive. I figured I could work at one of these stations and let you play whatever kind of music you want. And those were dying off. They were no longer
Yeah,
having
there were
those.
only one or two left.
But there was a station in Newton, Massachusetts called WNTN in Newton, the progressive AM radio station. Mm-hmm. They played progressive music. And I said, I'm going over there. I drive over. I meet the program director who had just gotten the job. And he said, okay, you're hired.
So right away you get a job.
I said, this is easy. I'm still in college. I'm working at WNTN, Newton, Massachusetts. I'm happy.
That's good.
I get on a couple of times. He tells me what he's going to pay me. He's going to pay me a couple of bucks. I was like, hey, okay, I'm a professional now. And payday
I'm
comes.
in the business.
Payday comes, no paycheck.
Right.
I said to the guy, where's the paycheck? He goes,
sucks.
He goes, you're horrible.
Oh, no.
He goes, I don't have to pay you. You're lucky to be here.
You're horrible.
Are you serious?
No kidding. He goes, you're terrible. I was horrible.
Yeah, but a
you
guy...
make a deal, you make a deal.
Right,
This guy
he
was
has
not-
to pay for your time.
This guy was not honorable.
They could pull that crap on radio and
He was a BU student. And I guess he graduated or so. Someone made him a program. The station had no money.
Was he any good?
He was horrible. In fact, he was so bad. He had to do, at the time, the FCC made you do Sunday morning public affairs programming. So he does it, and he interviewed somebody for public affairs from the community, and on the tape said the F word. He taped
What?
it. It was a tape you play on Sunday morning. So he forgets to cut out the F word. He plays it. He writes a letter to the FCC reporting himself and begging for mercy.
What a dope.
I mean, the guy no one was listening to the station.
my
Guy was a
goodness.
total moron. I said, well, maybe no one heard it. Oh, no, someone
Yeah,
had
wait
it.
to be reported.
No, he turned himself in and threw himself on the mercy of the FCC. FCC never even contacted this guy.
What was your deal? Your payment contingent on you not sucking or something?
No, and then he said, we have no money. He says, I never get paid either. He admitted to me, but I think he did get paid. I don't know what it was.
Well, there were some stations that you wouldn't get regular paychecks. They'd pay you when they got the money.
Right.
So you could get paid this month and not get paid again for another 3 months.
If one of the sponsors, I guess, which they had few of, decided to pay them, maybe they'd pay someone.
Right.
But who knows?
Well, that's like a bad bookie. We used to call them bad bookies. They wouldn't pay you until their loser, the other
Yeah.
guys paid up, and
Right,
you never
yeah.
got paid.
Well, it was bad, and I finally said, I think I'm going to keep working here because...
At least you're in radio.
And I tried, but I had all my dignity was gone. And I finally said, look, I'm leaving. And he could have cared less. He goes, go ahead. Well, who's going to hire you? He was right. And I got completely freaked out.
But did you try to go to other radio stations after that?
Well, several weeks later, WNTN in Newton became a middle of the road. They played Percy Sledge, and, Dean Martin records.
Right.
And they brought in these professional sounding announcers. And I realized I had no business being in the business. That these guys sounded so good on the air. But, all right, I was now armed with a new tape and I wrote down on my resume, WNTN, professional disc jockey.
Right. 2 days.
And I drove all the way up to Maine, where my cousin Richie and Julie lived. I'd go visit them, and I'd say, well, in Maine, I'll be a hit because someone's got to take me to
Yeah,
Maine.
they gotta need people in Maine, right?
No, yeah.
Effing Maine.
And there was a disc jockey in Maine who became a pro. He was a disc jockey in Boston. One of these AM top 40 disc jockeys, had something of a reputation. I can't think of the guy's name. JJ something. JJ looked like he was 900 years old. He'd moved up to Maine.
He
and
was no JJ.
And he was working at the rock and roll radio station, Progressive. You play hippie records and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
And I met with JJ. He saw that I worked at WNTN in Newton. He was anxious to meet me. He had a meeting with me, and I never heard from him again. So I was unemployable in Maine.
Now, let me ask you
Bangor,
something.
Maine.
Oh, God.
I was unemployable. The guy turned me down. He goes, maybe if I have a weekend shift, I'll let you come work
Did he
here.
listen to the tape in front of you?
No, not him.
Okay.
That's not good for
then
the
I said, you know what?
self-confidence.
I'm going to contact WBCN in Boston. See, I'll go for the big time.
All right.
Anyway,
Why are you wasting your time?
and I went down to BCN, and they had hired many of the disc jockeys from WNTN in Newton.
Okay.
And I walk in with my tape, and the program director comes out, who was Tony Berardini at the time. And he walks out, and he came out to meet me. He says, WNTN, we hire a lot of our people. I'm anxious to meet you.
Oh.
I said, thank you. I said, now, I'm getting some respect. Guy comes out, shakes my hand. He goes, I'm going to check out this tape myself. He listened to it. He must have thrown up. I mean, if you heard this tape, I don't have the goddamn tape. If you heard this tape, first of all, for some reason, when I would be on the radio, I got so nervous my voice sounded very, very froggy. Like,
Really?
like this. I've done that for you. Like
Well,
this.
yes.
And not even I have trouble. I was so nervous. It was hard to talk. And for some reason, I'd hear myself through the headphones, and I thought you shouldn't breathe. Like, you shouldn't take a breath.
Oh.
So I'd go, this is how it's done. And I didn't want to breathe. I don't know what I was thinking. It sounded to me like disc jockeys didn't have to take a breath or something. I couldn't figure out how to talk into the goddamn microphone.
You were trying to sound like a traditional announcer?
I wanted to sound like the guys on the TV commercials, and they weren't looking for that. They're looking for a natural sounding kind of guy, and I was out of my frigging mind. I mean, these guys, I'm telling
Well,
you.
you had no guidance.
Nothing. When this guy at WBCN heard this, he must have said, I'm going to have this guy arrested for claiming he worked at WNTN.
Wasting tape.
He's a crackpot.
I mean, Meg Griffin heard me at the beginning of my career, and I think I was the laughing stock of the radio station I eventually worked at. She could tell you. I don't think those people thought highly of me.
See, but then you were forced to be yourself, sort of, which was great.
Well, what happened was, after the WBCN thing, where I knew the guy listened to my tape, he was excited to listen and never called me. I called him 2 times after that. I never picked up the phone. And then I went over to WCOZ, which was the new rock station in Boston. And it was a big hit rock station in Boston. Clark Schmidt was the program director. I walked in. I said I worked at WNTN Newton. The guy comes right out and wants to have a meeting with me.
This Newton station was something.
Yeah, he was looking for... Yeah, but I was there at the end. You see, they figured I'm a professional.
Right.
And this guy walks out, this Clark Schmidt, and he goes, I'm looking... And he talked like this. And he was on the air. I mean, he was horrible. And he goes, hey, how you doing, Mr. Stanley Howard? I go, Clark Schmidt. I was like, wow, Clark Schmidt.
I'm meeting Clark Schmidt.
WCOZ. So I went, wow. They had this guy on Captain Ken Shelton. It was a happening station. Lisa Carlin.
Oh.
All these big-time announcers. I go, and this guy's giving me the King Tut treatment, rolling out the red carpet. I go, he goes, you got your air check? I go, yeah. I only wish I had someone else's air check to give him. I gave him my air check. He says, I'll get back to you, man. Give me a call tomorrow. I go, wow, okay. Wouldn't answer my calls. They probably went back and laughed at this tape. It was horrible.
I don't think they laughed.
So I was dejected. I took my tape, and I got in a car, and I drove to Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Now, you couldn't find a bigger hole in the ground. They had a rock station. I looked up all the rock stations. I said, this guy's going to, at least I'm a warm body.
Right.
I can speak English. I
English.
can put a sentence together. He's got it down.
I am going to get hired. So I remember what it was like to come out of college. When my kid graduates college, I ain't going to send them out and boot them out into the street.
That's devastating.
So I remember being humiliated. I go to Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And this guy, I don't know, he had nothing for me, too. He listened to the tape. He goes, hey, guy.
But nobody listened to it in front of you. They just took it and...
Well, this guy was not, no. Him I called, and he did pick up the phone, and he said, listen, You big-time city guys, you're not going to be happy living out in Pittsfield. I go, no. I go, I would be very happy. He goes, no. He goes, that's okay.
Oh, he gave you the rap like he's doing you.
Right,
Yeah. He goes,
you're not going to want to live here.
You're too good for us. Meanwhile, I was awful.
It's like when you break up with a chick.
Finally, I went to visit my sister who lived in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania.
Right.
This was the last straw. She lived out in the boondocks. Called my sister. I go, I'm coming up there. I'm going to visit with the radio station. She goes, oh, good. You live right near me. I go, don't be too quick, Tonto.
Yeah, don't
get too excited.
Don't put all your eggs in that basket.
This is like 26 years ago or something. Maybe 30 years ago.
More than
30
that,
years. Because my niece was just born. Pam. She's like 30 now.
Yeah.
I go up to my sister. I go, she's got a new baby. I'm thinking to myself, how am I ever going to have a baby? I mean, I'm a mess. How am I ever going to have children? How am I ever going to have a life with a wife and kids? I mean, who's going to...
Right out of college, you were thinking about all
Well,
that?
I was already seeing Allison 2 years. And,
that's right.
You know, her mother even said to her, you better go to graduate school. Way he's going. At least don't marry him till you get out of graduate school because, you know...
He's a mess.
What are you doing? He's going to travel around and do what? No one's hiring him. He's traveling around visiting radio stations.
He's in the circus.
He's in the circus.
It's like that scene in Private Parts where you had that car all like packed. I just picture like your life for a few years was always packing that car.
Horrible. Oh, packing nothing. I carried a brown paper bag with a toothbrush. I didn't even have clothes. I was like a nut.
You had to drive to Detroit.
Like a door-to-door salesman, door-to-door radio man.
And finally, she lives up there. Like, I go to Altoona, Pennsylvania. I go up. They say they need a guy. They have an automated, like a television station. You have to sit there and watch the tower. And then once in a while, they have a radio station they're starting up. They let you on the radio station do a couple of shifts. The guy didn't hire me.
That guy didn't hire you.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What did you do to him? You gave him that tape?
I figured I'm doomed.
It's that damn tape.
I'm doomed. That tape was like, you ever see the tape in the, you know that movie?
The
Ring. That tape, that's why if anyone finds it, don't play it. It'll ruin you. That tape was a nightmare. It was like, WTBU. I mean, it was like so bad.
You should have done Mission Impossible. You should have had it say it's going to self-destruct in 5 seconds.
So I figure I got to find another career, but I did send the tape to WRNW in Westchester.
Uh-huh.
And little did I know the program director up there was sick of everything. He was an older guy. He had a couple of shifts here in the city at this radio station on weekends.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Nice guy, Donald J. Barnett.
Oh, I remember that name.
Yeah. And Meg and all of them, they didn't get along with him. There was, they were all hippies playing or whatever they wanted. And he didn't, he was all fed up with hippies. And,
he had to get away from the hippies.
I walk in with a nice suit and short haircut. Looks at me and goes, you're hired. I might have something for you.
He never listened to the tape.
He did listen to the tape.
Oh, he did.
He listened to the tape. He called me. He goes, I'm going to give you something. He goes, I'm going to put you on 10 to 2 at night. He goes, because I think you're going to show up. I go, what do you mean?
Not because you're going to be good.
No. He goes, you seem reliable. Like a nice guy.
He'll be here.
And I turned it down.
What?
I got scared. I listened to the station. I heard Meg, and I heard this guy Joe from Chicago who was on. And I heard all the different people who were working there. And I said, I'm not good enough. I can't do this.
Somebody gave you a job and you turned it down?
I turned it down. And a guy named Harris Allen got the job. I listened to him a couple of weeks later, and he sounded so good.
Harris Allen?
He had a big, deep voice, Harris Allen.
Yeah.
And I went, well, he deserves the job over me. I'm a loser, failure. I don't deserve to be on the radio. And then I set out to go find an alternative career after 4 years.
You decided you got to do something else?
So I started taking the train every day into the city. My parents, I had a briefcase full of resumes. You should see this resume. If you saw this resume, you'd throw up. Big lie. And I would go into the city, and there was a coffee shop. People were all walking around looking like they had something to do. Everybody had something to do. You should see. I would walk around, and everyone was on their way to somewhere. And
wait a minute. You got to tell me what was on that resume. Did you have jobs when you were in college?
I know. But I once had a job in a plumbing supply house. I wrote that down. I wrote down that I was summa cum laude.
Okay.
All this stuff. I wrote down WNTN, professional broadcaster. And I had 2 resumes.
Did you have any,
Yeah.
Were you in any organizations in college?
No,
Nothing.
But I talked about Key Club in high school. You know, I made
You talked that up.
Yeah. I showed up for one meeting. And which is a sad story, too, how I got into Key Club. I don't even want to go into that. That'll take me off track of this story.
Oh, dear.
Key Club's a horrible story. In high school. Key Club was for real cool guys in my high school. Like, you only got in, it was almost like a fraternity, and they only took 2 sophomores. And I had just moved from Black Community Roosevelt. I didn't know a soul. And they would have these interviews.
Uh-huh.
And a bunch of the cool jocks and stuff said, you know what? None of us want to volunteer to, like, go be Santa Christmas time or, you know, or do any of that.
Really do the stuff that Key Club has to do.
They got together. They said, we got to hire one ass who will actually do all our work.
I'm your man.
So they saw, I'm a good BSer. I go, I'm really anxious. I sounded like I was ready to join the Peace Corps. I want to go out. I want to do
Right.
it.
You're going to be a missionary.
They brought me in, and within a week, I was dressed in a Santa costume with a pot collecting money on the streets of Rockville Center. After school every day, miserable. And all these other guys would drive by, how you doing?
Yeah.
I go,
They'd drive by and make fun of you?
well, if they needed change, they.
Your friends from the Key Club.
Key Club. So I was the peckerhead. So I stopped going. And they were like,
for you.
I was the biggest disappointment of Key Club because they figured, well, they got a guy here's going to be grateful.
You quit.
I figured I'd make some friends. They wouldn't want to be my friend. So I get this job at WRNW, turn it down. Now I got to go into the city every day. And I have to get a job. My father's like, you got to get a job. You know, of course. And I wanted a job.
He was putting pressure on you?
Well, you know, I put the pressure on myself. I mean, I got a college. He goes, we got a college degree.
Well, I mean, he wasn't helping saying, take your time. He was like,
well,
hey.
he was being understand. He felt bad, but I know under his breath he had to be saying somewhere. He said to me a couple of times, you got a communications degree. All of these radio guys, they could be janitors, or you'll be competing with anyone can talk. You're competing with janitors, and you should have taken acting classes. I begged you to take a acting class or summer stock. You're wasting your time going to Dopey Wellnet with the camping, and I told you what to do. You know, he was nervous for me. Yeah, so I mean, I was ready for a nervous breakdown. What am I gonna do?
Oh my!
How am I gonna get out of college and get a job?
Did you have any idea what field you were gonna attempt?
No, so I would walk into Manhattan every day. Everyone looked like they knew where they were going. And I had my briefcase, and I'd walk around the street with the New York Times, looking at the want ad.
Did you go to interviews?
Well, you'd see these ads. They were intimidating. It says, self-starters, no losers need apply.
Oh, geez.
I said, well, I'm a loser. And I'm not a self-starter. I don't even know what that means.
Self-starter.
Self-starter,
I
no
hated
losers.
that term when people used to say that.
And even my father would look at the want ads and he goes, this one says no losers need apply. You can't go in on that.
Check that one off.
Well, there's another one you can't.
Here's another one. I was like, well, you're right.
Scratch.
He goes, self-starter, no loser. He goes, who thinks of themselves as a loser? You go, no losers need apply. That's some ad in that New York Times. They should be ashamed of
Sometimes
themselves.
the headline would be no losers.
No losers. Damn it. If they were only looking for a loser, I'd be in. So I would walk around the streets and buy lottery tickets with whatever little money I had. And I'd come home and my father would go, what is that? I go, I bought a lottery ticket. He goes, only losers buy a lottery ticket. He goes, only people who are unemployed buy lottery tickets.
That's
If
why.
you're actually making money, you wouldn't be buying lottery tickets. You're not going to win the lottery. I go, well, something's got to give.
That's why I couldn't go to the interviews. I'm a loser, evidently.
Yeah. So then I began, I'm looking at all these things, and I would take any job. So I saw it says assistant buyer, no experience needed, at Bloomingdale's.
Bloomingdale's?
You buy clothing, I guess.
How would you know what to do about
I
that?
don't, but they said a training program. Now I went to 4 years of college and would enter a training program. And my friend Elise Rosenfeld was a buyer already at Bloomingdale's.
Right.
She got out of college and she was making good money, and I went, yeah, I'll buy women's clothing. I don't understand how they'll give me a management job and I'll work at Bloomingdale's.
Uh-huh.
So I sent in an application. And in the meantime, I go to the city every day looking for a job.
But you used to go to that diner and just sit there all day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't make any. What was the purpose of leaving home when you didn't have any place to go?
See, here's a guy on the phone saying he doesn't want to listen to my autobiography, so forget it. I'm going to drop it. That's all I need. I need just one. I just need one.
We were having such a good time.
Yes,
what
Dave.
are you talking about?
That's right, Pinocchio.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
How long are we going to be subjected to your autobiography?
All right, if you don't want, you know what? All it takes is one person.
Him, you're going to listen to?
Yep, he's right. He's in the audience. If he's not enjoying
we
this,
all read your book. We don't have to hear it for an hour.
No, this isn't
He's
about. I
the
didn't put
guy
this in the
who
book.
answers the loser ad.
The loser head. The loser
No,
head.
I'm
Go
cutting.
ahead,
I'm
Robert
cutting
Webb.
off. I'm cutting off. Then you're absolutely right. That's all I need.
That's enough already.
If I-
That
The book
was
was
great.
great. You don't have to tell everybody your whole life
All right,
story.
that's it.
You're sicko.
Yes, Gary.
Christ.
Hold on a second. I listen. What you were talking about is fascinating. Every one of us went through it, whether you work in this business or not.
Right.
It's not in your book. And if he doesn't want to hear your autobiography, he should shut off the show because that's what the show
Yeah,
is.
it's every day an autobiography.
No, it's not.
That's
No, but it's about you.
If people are feeling that way, I'll shut up.
He's not people.
Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah.
Do you have any floss for your teeth?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
right,
Have a great day, y'all.
F you.
We should hire that guy as a writer.
Yeah.
He's a buyer.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's take a break.
Oh, that's a shame.
I know.
It
He
was
threw
so
me.
much
He threw me.
fun.
I looked over and I saw that and I just
I
went,
was not
okay.
here what happened to Bloomingdale's.
Really? He was going to be a buyer.
At Bloomingdale's.
He
Think
could
about
have been
that.
picking the clothes that you see in Bloomingdale's.
No, but so I kept walking around, and then I saw assistant director. You could learn to and be in the film business,
Okay.
but you have to go out to California. I go out to California,
Why not? There's nothing happening here.
so I wrote a letter to that assistant director. You know, at the film making movies. So I sent in that. I figured maybe I'll be a film director. That doesn't seem that hard. You know, if I could.
Doesn't seem like you have to have much skill to do that.
Yeah, but I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
I mean, how do you make a movie? I don't know. I don't know how to make a movie. And I'm looking around for jobs, and I'm walking in the street. I go to the same coffee shop. This is depressing. I mean, and I sit there and eat lunch, and I come home and tell my parents. They go, what'd you do all day? I go, I was out interviewing and resumes, but I was in a coffee shop.
But that was so you were lying to them.
Yes.
Oh, because I wondered why you left home every day with no place to go.
Because I felt at least it looked like I was doing something, and I was embarrassed. Then I started walking around Manhattan one day, and I must have looked like a mark, because 4 guys drive up to me in a car, and they go, hey, you, come over here. You want an opportunity? I go, okay. I go, what do I got to do?
How are you at oral?
No, like 4 guys go, we want you to come to a meeting. We'll reveal the plan. I go,
no.
This sounds like criminal something. And I said, and look, they're not bothering. I'm the only idiot they're bothering. They must have radar. No.
They must have been, staking out that corner, and they saw you day after day.
They must know I'm a loser. So, they give me the address to go to. At least I'll have somewhere to go. Then I find out they're Amway guys.
That you'd rather it be like the mafia or something.
Yeah, it was Amway guys, and they were. And if they suckered me into it, I guess it's a pyramid thing, or I don't know. It's a pyramid. I don't know what it is.
I don't know if it's not an illegal pyramid.
Not illegal.
But if you go work for them, they make money off you.
My buddy talked me into going to an Amway meeting.
Everybody's been to one.
Yeah,
And it was so depressing.
Right.
Well, finally, I see someone tells me, some guy I know who seemed like a loser in high school tells me he's a media planner at an advertising agency. I go, you're kidding. Oh, you're an idiot. You're able to do that. I should be able to do that.
You're planning media?
Media planning, which means like you go into an advertising agency every day and you make a plan, I guess, to like if Planters Peanuts wants to advertise on television, you make the plan and you tell the buyers what to buy, what ads to buy.
So that sounds exciting.
It sounds sort of like
It's
communication.
sort of in the business, yeah.
I go in, they interview me. They go, what are your math skills? I go, excellent. And they go, all right, do you know anything about marketing? I go, well, of course. And they give me a shot. They hire me.
Wow.
They gave me my own office with 2 other guys. You know, I had an office.
Uh-huh.
Big desk, phone. Got to wear a suit and tie every day. And my boss comes in the first day and he goes, okay, I want you to, he starts in with a calculator and he's printing out sheets and he goes, I want you to do workups on cost,
no.
CPM, cost per thousands. Then I want you to call in Arizona, buy Arizona Diamondback something, baseball, football, whatever that is. Get Planters Peanut. I was on the Planters Peanut account. Get Planters Peanuts and blah, 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 blah. I went, oh my God. I turned to the guy next to me. I was in tears. I go, I don't know how to do any of this. He goes, I'll help you.
Oh,
And he said, you know what? You know when you get an assignment in school and you're way over your head?
Yeah.
I was in way over my head. And the guy comes in and goes, I want you to draw a map of the country and plot out where we're going to...
How Planters is going to attack the country?
He goes, I want you to look up every Jewish newspaper in the country because Planters makes peanut oil and it appeals to Jews who are kosher. I go, yeah. And he goes, and then I want you to figure out cost per thousand divided by. I hear divided by. I'm like, I'm doomed. They're gonna find out. I don't know anything.
Cost per thousand.
I'm sitting there till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night trying to finish these assignments like it's the SATs. I'm in over my head.
And what, just because you went to college, he assumes you can do all this, work all this
No,
up
he
and
said he
all-
had experience in marketing.
Oh, because of your lying.
I lied. I was doomed. I was in a panic. What am I going to do? This is a good job, but why can't I be creative? I'm like, maybe I get a job copywriting or something.
Right, maybe another department is where you should be.
I had to start coming in on Saturdays to figure out my work that I couldn't do during the week. I'm sitting at the desk pounding the My mother looked at me. She goes, what are you doing? You look green. Your skin is green. I go, I'm sick. I don't know what to do. She goes, what are you doing?
I got a job, but it's killing me.
I explained my job to her. She goes, you're a creative guy. What are you doing? I go, I don't know. This is horrible. My boss says to me, you're a very hard worker. I like it. He liked me. It infuriated me that he liked me. Like, how could he like me? I'm not doing anything
He
right.
didn't even know he should throw you out.
And he said to me, you better go buy ads for the Jewish newspaper. I call up the guy at the Jewish newspaper. He's some kind of rabbi or something. And I'm on the phone with him. And I go, listen, Rabbi, I got to get an ad in the paper. He goes, well, the newspaper, we get it out sometimes we don't. You relax. And I went, oh, my God.
This ain't the New York Times.
I go back and tell my boss, he goes, you call that rabbi. You tell him you need an ad in that paper. I'm like, this is too much pressure. I'm going to fail.
I thought you were a planner, not a salesman.
I was everything, it
my
appears.
goodness.
Jack of all trades.
I wanted to be anything but what I was. All the other advertising jobs looked like fun. Guys were making movies. You should see all the creative people. Writing copy.
Oh, drawing storyboards. the whole
Account
thing.
executives going out to lunch with the clients. And I'm in there busting my balls with the calculator.
Oh, that sounds like a
And
nightmare.
a briefcase. And the guy says to me, you know, a lot of us come in on Sundays to catch up on our work. You don't have to wear a tie.
Wow. There's a perk.
And I started going in on Sundays.
So now you're working 7 days a week. How much were they paying you at this job?
I don't know. Then I started to say, man, I should have taken that radio job. What a jackass I am. And I told that to my dad. He goes, well, I know Ed Cosman over at WKTU. You know. I go, yeah? WKTU was soft rock. It was this station.
Right.
Soft rock. I could do that. The mellow sound of WKTU. I could do that. I figured. So my father says, I'll ask Eddie Cosman to play your tape for the program director. And there comes that tape again.
Whoa,
Back with the tape.
coming around the corner.
And so my father uses his influence because he knows a big guy in radio.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
And he says, all right, he says, I'll get you a meeting with Ed Cosman. So I go into the city, WKTU, New York.
Big station.
Big station.
Where was it at the time? You remember?
Yeah, I don't even know. He's next to my father's recording studio. So, you know, my father already thinks I'm a jerk. And he's now getting he sees I'm desperate. He gets the friend involved. That's the worst thing. So Cosman doesn't want to meet with me. He's a big time radio general manager. He don't want to meet with me. And here I am walking. I walk in. I go, hi. He goes, look, I'm doing this as a favor for your father.
Oh, no.
There's 2 jobs in radio. Either you're in sales or you're on the air. Which is it? He goes, if you go on the air, you never make any money. He goes, if you want to be a salesman, I don't have any openings, but I'll keep you in mind. You go out and get some experience and then come and talk to me. Like, I don't want to be a salesman. That salesman sounds scary to me. Like, I'd actually have to.
You'd already called the rabbi. You knew you.
Yeah, I don't have that ability. So I give him the tape. He says, I'll play it for Larry Miller, the program director. Larry Miller was the buzz in radio back then. You know, he was the guy who developed soft rock from KTU. He introduces me to Larry Miller. I go, hi. He goes, Cosman goes, I want you to listen to this tape and Call this kid and tell him whether or not you'll hire him. I go home. I'm calling Larry Miller every day. I never heard from him. Finally gets on the phone. He goes, look, you're horrible. You're not working at WKTU. Radio's not for you.
Jesus.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
You're like 0
But
for
at
6
least
at this point.
Oh,
You
for
had
6.
some nerve calling them back when they weren't calling you.
In the meantime, my father then calls in another favor from a guy. You know who the guy is.
Oh, yeah.
Roy Eaton. He worked at Benton & Bowles, the same advertising agency I'm working at.
You're at Benton & Bowles when he calls Roy.
He called Roy because I wanted to get into something creative, and
Right.
Roy was in charge of, he was a music director
Right.
at Benton & Bowles, and he's going to maybe give me a job in the creative side of things. Things were getting real bad at the advertising job. Finally, I walked in, I quit. They go, you giving notice? I go, no. I got to get out of here.
Your notice is now.
Yeah, and they were pissed.
Oh, dear.
That very day, I get a call from Benton & Bowles, the whole creative department. They're going to hire me based on Roy Eaton's suggestion to work in their film division.
Ooh.
This is a big break. I'm going to get just a low job. You're AV guy. You know, like an AV guy in high school?
At the bottom.
Pushing
You're going
around.
to be pushing a cart.
Well, if they have a meeting with a client, I'm the guy who cues up the tape and all this
you
kind of
hit
stuff.
the button and change the slides, whatever.
Yeah, but at least I'm all excited. I go in for my job. I'm on there the first day. They give me my assignment to show me equipment I need to learn to work and all this stuff. They call me into an office and they go, did you just quit this company? I go, well, not really. They go, you didn't give any notice, did you? I go, no. They go, you're out of here.
Oh, no.
We can't imagine that. I blocked all this out, come to think of it.
Wow. Yeah,
I was-
you never told us you were hired at Benton & Bowles and then fired on the same day.
I was so humiliated. They said, leave now.
Wow.
And I had to go to Roy Eaton because he was my father's friend. And I said, thank you for recommending me. He goes, I understand that based on my recommendation, they hired you and you left here with no notice. I go, I'm terribly sorry. He goes, I look bad? I go, I know. I know. Not half as bad as I look.
Oh, no wonder you're still doing favors.
And then
for
my
him.
father's like, I hope nothing bad happens to Roy. He did me a favor. Now I'm like, I'm
Now you're getting everybody into trouble.
it's horrible.
Right now, at a young
Now-
age, you're just crazed with stress about
Now I need a job, any job. I don't care what the job. I see in the paper, the words of Ed Cosman are ringing in my head. I see radio sales, no experience needed. I show up at an apartment in Queens.
Oh.
I walk in. There's 4 dejected-looking people sitting at a desk, and one guy, they go in and talk to this guy. I walk in, he's a fat guy. He's got his shirt off, and he's putting perfume under his armpits.
I think a way to start a meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Sit down, kid.
Yeah, look.
I couldn't believe it. And he goes, all right, you want to sell time? He goes, we got some kind of arrangement where you can sell WYNY, which was a all news FM station. Go out and sell ads, but don't take any money. Get it in trade. In other words, if a Chinese restaurant, go to restaurants, and if Chinese restaurants want to advertise on the all news station, they have to give us a certain amount of meals. And we'll pay you. Cash. I go, you're kidding. Okay.
That sounds like a weird business.
So I went to a Chinese restaurant. I took the guy literally. I convinced this Chinese guy who speaks no English to advertise on an all-news FM station, which I knew was getting no ratings. I felt horrible for this guy. The Chinese guy was like, how many meals? Like thousands of meals.
See, that's what you got to have in you to be a good salesman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no
I
heart.
did it.
Yeah,
I did it, and I went, how could I tell this nice Chinese guy who's some immigrant to go advertise on a station? They're even changing formats. It's so bad. No one's listening
No
to
wonder
it.
Tom's making deals with God.
Right. I'm like, oh my God, I feel awful. I went in, I quit. When I go in to quit, they were raiding the place. The FBI or someone was hauling out all of this guy's records, and I think they were arresting him. I don't know what.
It sounded strange, this business.
And I went back to the Chinese guy and I said, listen, it took me hours to explain to this guy how to advertise and stuff. I'm getting yelled at. It's been 50 minutes.
Oh,
I'm taking a
dear.
break.
This is a great...
Well, I went to the Chinese guy and I said to him, listen, don't advertise with anyone who comes in here and says, go on that station. It's horrible. He goes, well.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst part.
Yeah,
about
I just had no confidence.
You're
And
abandoning a dream. You know?
well, I went to the Chinese guy and I said to him, listen, don't advertise with anyone who comes in here and says, go on that station. It's horrible. He goes, what? What are you talking about? He goes, I give you cash. He wanted to give me money.
Oh, he really wanted the ads.
He did. I had him sold.
You gave him inside information.
I said, listen to me. Don't advertise on radio. It doesn't work.
You're a great salesman.
He's trying to talk the guy out of it.
Now I'm trying to talk the guy out of advertising. He's like, what happened? You're telling me it was good.
The guy was giving you cash.
I don't
What
even,
are you, a split personality?
I can't believe I met with this guy. And I blocked all this out. It gives me the shakes to think about it. I was just so scared. I was just so frightened. I wanted to crawl into a hole. I wanted to crawl back into my mother's womb and have somebody care for me. I felt so
told
alone.
you it was going to be like this.
It was horrible. It was horrible being out in the real world.
Well, that's what every kid is trying to get. They're trying to get their freedom, trying to get into the real world.
Finally, Allison said to me, you ought to call that guy back at that dumb radio station that was willing to hire you. I said, I think I will. I called the guy, and he gave me a midday job. New Year's Day, he had no one to fill in. He says, I'll give you fill-in work.
This is the one who liked you because of your suit.
Yeah, I begged him. I said, listen, he goes, you turned down my job. I go, I made a terrible mistake. I was very nervous. I wasn't sure which way I wanted my career to go. Can you please reconsider me? And he did. And then my first shift, when I get on the air, I was so nervous my hands were shaking. The station was empty, thank God, because it was New Year's morning.
Uh-huh.
I hit the button to play the record. The whole board jams up. I must have hit it too hard.
You broke it.
I called this guy New Year's morning to tell him I can't get I can't change records. The record's running out, and I don't know what to do. And the guy hung up the phone. He goes, call the engineer. Don't bother me. You just woke me up New Year's Day. It was my one day off.
You can't win for losing.
You should have heard this radio show. What a train wreck it was. You have no friggin' idea. I couldn't change records. I couldn't go from one record to another.
What did you do?
The engineer came in, started yelling at me. This big fat guy. And he fixed it at some point, I guess.
While the show is going on.
And all the other jocks heard me, and they think I was horrible. I was the laughing stock of the station. The program director was going to fire me, I heard, because I woke him up.
Uh-huh.
And again, I had to beg for his mercy. I said, I'm so sorry. Because you're terrible. You're horrible.
Oh, God.
It's a miracle I sit here today.
But this is New Year's Day, what year? Like, see, I'd love to know the year. You don't remember stuff like that.
1977.
70, New Year's Day. So that's officially when you first signed on, sort of.
Yeah.
Like on the real.
Yeah. And it was awful. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back right after these words. 91.